Hello everyone, and welcome to Digital Publishing Online, and I'm Lisa Gabrielle. And today I have some video for you. There I am. Today you have the pleasure of being able to see me in person while I go over your next project in the class. And the reason for the video today is because I have some visual aids and different kinds of three-dimensional things that I want to show you that are hard to describe, and I can't really show them to you on the screen. So I'm going to hold things up like, papers like this or folded pieces like this. So I just thought I'd include some video to help, I guess, cement the points that I'm making as I go through the lecture today. Okay, so we're finishing up on the book project, and that has always been my very favorite project. So it was a long project, but you guys should all be able to pat yourselves on the back. You did you designed a 34-page book, which in industry could take quite a long time. We did it in 7 weeks, and it was accelerated in this 14-week class, but in the real world it could take several months to put together large multi-page books. So hopefully you enjoyed that project, and we're moving on. We will have one more component of that project towards the end of the class, and that will be the e-publication. It's just that I wasn't able to get all that material written up because it's so detailed and so lengthy to create EPUBs, and actually you need some web experience, and we don't cover web design in this class, so it's a little difficult to kind of just throw it into the class without having a little overview about how to do it. So hopefully I'll have that ready by the end of class, and we can move to complete that portion of the book project. So now we're going to move on to the next project in the class, which is designing a advertising campaign. And let's see, I've got some handouts here, so my video may pop in and out of the page here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up some handouts that I've opened up off of eCampus. Okay, so here is the handout that I've given you. I'm going to try and move it over so that you can sort of see me here, because I may need access to the video while I'm demonstrating today. So the next project is an advertising campaign, as I mentioned, and it has a specific topic. Well, not necessarily a specific topic, but you will be producing an ad campaign on a social issue of your choice. So we need to keep the subject matter of the piece to some kind of, I guess, current event or social issue that's going on now, or something that maybe is not necessarily going on now, but something you feel passionate about and would like to learn more about. This is a great opportunity and a great project for something like that. So think about what you might want to use as a topic for this project. Now, I'm going to hold papers up, and also as page 2 of this, and I'm just going to kind of scroll down here, there is another page to this handout, and it is called a target market worksheet. I've got it right here. This is one that's been filled out by a student. Okay, and that goes along with this project. So that's kind of like where you're going to begin with the project and how to get started on the project. But just to review, it's a 2-part project, so you'll be doing 2 pieces, and I've got this example that I posted in the classroom here of some campaigns that were done by students in the past, and it's a good couple of examples that were very successful for this project. I've been doing this project ever since I started teaching, and I've been teaching for about, well, this is going on my 14th year now. And so I have a lot of results from this project, and these here were a capture of some of the most successful ones. Plus, these are also ones that were done here at North Lake. I've taught at other universities and colleges, and these were done right here in Dallas, Texas. So what you're looking at here in this example is a campaign, and in this campaign you have, well, in these examples there's three components. There is a brochure design, which is presented here in this example as a flat example because I don't have the folded pieces. The students took those back, but there's a brochure piece. There is a postcard, which is, if I zoom up on this slightly here, you can zoom up a little bit here so that you can sort of see here. Open this up so we can see all of this. So over here is the brochure piece. This is the front and back of the business card, or I'm sorry, not business card, but postcard. And this over here is a promotional piece that the student designed that goes along with the campaign. So there's three components. Now, I've had to kind of scale the project down a little bit for online. So for online, I've made it where the promotional piece is actually optional. So it's not required, but if some of you want to do a promotional piece for the campaign, then, you know, knock yourself out. You could totally do that for extra credit. So you can kind of see, here's another example here. This was the folded piece right here. And then this was the postcard, and then her promotional piece was like a bracelet that went along with her campaign. And then over here, another example of a brochure front and back, a postcard front and back, and then her promotional piece was a t-shirt design. So I guess the reason I chose these examples is it really shows like a good cross-section of how far you can go with the project. And I have a huge diverse body of students in this class. I have some students in here who are working professionally in graphic design and computer graphics and in advertising already, and already know a lot of this stuff. So you may want to take the project to the next level and do the optional promo piece. Some of you are doing this type of stuff for the very first time in your lives and you have no previous experience, so you may not want to tackle that optional promotional piece. So I guess the project's expandable for those of you who feel that you need a little bit more on the project, and those of you who don't and you're already overwhelmed, you do the requirement. The bare minimum requirement for the project would be a brochure design and a postcard front and back. Okay, so it's a brochure design front and back and a postcard design front and back. Okay, so that is pretty much explained over here in the handout. So if I kind of zoom up this handout a little bit here, it explains here that you're doing a brochure and you're doing a postcard, and it gives you the criteria for those two pieces. So let's jump back up to the top and let's talk about the objectives of the project and such. So everybody is to choose a social issue of their choice and something you feel strongly about, something you'd like to research, and create an educational or informative brochure and postcard set. Okay. Topics can range from alcoholism to starvation to violence of human or animal rights and anywhere in between. So, you know, I've had every single topic studied for this project. Sometimes very controversial topics, and some people were a little embarrassed to present the project at the end because the topic was so controversial. But I urge you to try and make this something that you can put in your portfolio. So knowing that you might put it in your portfolio or display it as an example of something you've done, you probably want to keep it appropriate so you're able to not be embarrassed by presenting your project to a prospective employer, so to speak. As you're presenting the information, you want to avoid being grim and try and present a positive perspective on the topic, or try to twist the topic so that it's positive instead of showing us, you know, highly graphic, grotesque images, or trying to present a very negative approach on the subject. I mean, an example might be like if you chose to do a brochure on animal rights, and all the images you put into the piece were these really horrible images of animals being tested on, and they were just gross, and that really isn't going to go very far in the public. What you want to do is find a kind of an interesting, conceptual sort of, I guess, unique way to reach out and get people to be interested in your topic and possibly change their minds and persuade them to buy in to what you're trying to say. So to begin with the project, as I said, you're going to start with the second page of the handout here, which is filling out the target market worksheet. Okay, and I have that here as an example of a student filling out the target market worksheet. I'm not expecting you to write volumes here, and since you're online, you guys might be typing this in. These students were face-to-face, so they wrote notes on here. And you're going to answer these questions. You're going to define your topic. You're going to tell me what type of audience you're talking to with this topic. Now, why is the audience, and why do we need to know who they are, and why is that information important? Well, for one, if we're trying to reach out to somebody and we really want them to listen, we should know who they are and what classifies them as a specific group. Like, for instance, you might want to know how old they are. You might want to target a certain age range. You might want to know whether it's male or female. You may be targeting both. If you were targeting both, how would your communication or your visuals change? If you were targeting children, how would your visuals or your communication change in that particular example? So knowing who your audience is and who you're trying to talk to is important before you start getting into designing a piece, which is what you're doing here. Income level sometimes becomes an issue, so you'll want to define that as well. And then answering the other question, what are the needs of the audience and how can you meet those needs? And then at the end here, a list of possible headlines. So a lot of times when students are just getting started on this project, they start from bottom to top with this target market worksheet, because sometimes they have lots of great headline ideas, and that's how they kind of kickstart their brainstorming, is they think about these catchy headlines that might help to promote their subject matter or whatever it is their topic is. So you might find it easy for yourself to start with the headlines and then work up the sheet and try and answer the questions as you start working out the research and such, the different materials that go with this. So this is the target market worksheet that I refer to in the project handout over here. Let's see, another version of it. Where is it? Okay, so scroll back to here. I mentioned that you're going to begin with your target market worksheet, and that is that worksheet there. Okay, this will help you in your brainstorming session. Again, where is my video? Let's bring you up there. Okay, all right. So in addition to coming up with your own subject and research, you're also going to need to compile extensive materials for this project. So I will be providing you nothing for this project. It will be your responsibility to find your imagery or to create your imagery. It is your responsibility to locate the text content. So during your research, you might find websites, you might have books, you might find publications, you might, there's all kinds of different, you might have newspaper clippings, different alternatives for collecting wording and information about this topic. All of those things are your responsibility. So while you're thinking about your topic, what you should be thinking about is whether or not your topic reaches far enough and there'll be enough information about that topic to be able to put together a campaign like this. So most of the examples that I mentioned up here in the first half of this handout, like, you know, animal rights, human rights, starvation, alcoholism, those are all topics where there's a, you know, a plethora of information. You won't have any issues. But sometimes when we start getting into more current events or new topics, then there may not be as much research available. But again, I will be reviewing your brainstorming sessions and giving you feedback and letting you know, well, I think that's a good topic, or maybe you should consider, you know, narrowing that topic down, or sometimes it's too narrow and you need to, you know, expand that topic. So it depends on which way you're looking at it, and everybody will probably take a different approach there. So as you're doing your research, you want to pay attention to typography, headlines, subheads, body copy, and type selection. So all of those types of areas are going to be areas you're going to need to populate inside your brochure. So you're going to need to come up with headlines, as I mentioned in your target worksheet. You're going to have text content. You're going to have areas that require you to place images or artwork or visuals or what have you. So all of that information is going to be things you're going to have to gather. Now, a couple of notes about those types of things. Like, for instance, if you borrow someone else's imagery, or if you use someone else's writings in books or on the internet, you will have to keep a citation, or keep track of the paths or the links on the internet that you use to compile the information for this project. Because at the end, when you put together your process notebook, and again, this process notebook that I have is for a class where it was face-to-face, so it's not necessarily the exact thing you'll be doing, but you will be doing something similar to this in PDF form. And I'm looking here to see where her bibliography is. Let me see what her materials are, and it doesn't look like she has one in here. So I don't have a physical example to show you, but I will be posting things online that you can look at that will be an example of a bibliography and what I'm expecting for the final book. So the project itself is intended to give you extensive creative freedom in both topic and design. So not only will you be thinking about the topic, researching out the topic, locating all the materials to put the project together, but you'll also be doing all the design work. And you will be using InDesign. Okay, so mentioned here in the second portion of this handout, I have the criteria for each piece. So the criteria for the brochure is listed here. You'll be working in InDesign, and the maximum dimension for that brochure design will be 1117. And you can work with a full bleed if necessary. Most of the time people do work with full bleeds. Your color system is listed there. Again, the folding system, what do I mean by folding system? Well, I also gave you a handout that in your project materials that looks like this. And this is an example, or this is actually a pretty informative handout, because in this handout, there's an example here of all of the most common folding systems that brochures are designed in. And if you go to a local printer and ask them to reproduce any one of these particular folding systems, and that's this handout here that I'm talking about, and I also have it on the screen, they can pretty much do it with ease. It may cost you, but most of these folding systems are relatively capable folding systems for most printers here locally, as well as if you live elsewhere. Any big city can produce any one of these types of brochures. So you will be thinking about, as you're designing how this brochure is going to come together, what kind of folding system would you use? Okay, so again, what you're designing is a brochure, and I have examples here, physical examples. I believe she's got something in here. Nope, she does not. She does not have the physical ones here. But let me stop this video and I'm going to compile a couple more materials. So we're going to make several videos today. This first one is just kind of going over the research portion. So we'll end this video, and then the second video that I make, I'll have some other more physical examples. So stay tuned.